Hello, fellow students. I hope you're all well. As you practice today, please remember to listen to your body. If your body says, don't do something, please don't do it. And please remember that within all poses, there are several options that you can do to achieve the pose. So please don't feel that if you haven't got the pose quite right, that it's just wrong, because it isn't. You need just to work through things, and some things take longer to do than other things do. Please keep in mind that we have blocks. You can use a block. You could use a strap. You can use a blanket, a cushion, a bolster, a towel. Please be sure to also have some hankies nearby in case you sneeze. It does happen. The pose that I would like to begin with is a round of Surya Namaskar, the sun salutation. Surya Namaskar A. I will do 3 rounds of it, maybe 5. I haven't quite decided yet. And then I'll go into the other poses that I would like to work on today. So, if you are going to practice the Surya Namaskar, which I do recommend, but allow your body to choose the pose or how it wants to approach the pose as you encounter each pose. So, stand at the end of your mat, toes together, heels slightly apart. The weight is in front of your heels. Roll the shoulders over. Bring the arms up overhead. You can touch the palms together or not as you want. Bring the arms down, and as you bring the arms down, come into a forward fold. Bend your knees to begin with and notice a nice flat back. Then you can either straighten the legs, draw the hands up, go back down, step back with the right foot. Come into Chaturanga Dandasana, 4-point staff. Go up into Ardha Matsyendrasana, upward facing dog. Roll the toes over or flip the feet over, depending on what you want to do. You could do 1 foot at a time, or you could just do both of them over at the time, or just flip the feet over. Have the knees bent in Ardha Matsyendrasana. When you have the knees bent, that allows the back to relax a little more. The hands press firmly into the mat. The fingers and thumb are pressing down into the mat. The heels at the beginning are off the mat. Just allow the back to lengthen. Keep the arms strong. The neck is neutral. The eyes are open. Then if you want to straighten the right leg, keep the left leg bent just a little bit to open the hip up. Then change. Bend the right, straighten the left, then bend both legs, bring the heels down to the mat. Look at your feet. The toes point forwards, the heels line up behind the toes. If your heels are not on the mat, please don't worry about that. Don't force them down. Allow the stretch to happen. Then step forward with the left leg. Bring the right leg up. Forward fold into Uttanasana. Then bring your torso up a little bit. You could draw the hands up the shins if you like to a half Uttanasana. Then down again. And then bring yourself up, straight up, arms overhead. Hands together for a moment. Bring the arms down to the Atmanjali Mudra. Then bring the arms up overhead, forward fold. Draw the hands up along the shins, hands down. Now step back with the left leg. Bring the right one back to join it. Chaturanga Dandasana. You could have the knees on the floor if you liked. Up into upward facing dog, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Flip the toes over. to downward facing dog, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Allow the back to lengthen, the fingers pressing firmly into the mat, into the floor. The toes are active. Notice in this position, press the big toes down a little more. Notice how it tightens the inner parts and lengthens the inner parts of the legs. Now press the outer parts of the foot down, the little toes, and the outer edges of the heels down, and notice how that changes the feeling in the legs. So now you have strength going on the outer edges of the legs as well as on the inner edges of the legs. Now step forwards with the right leg, then bring the left leg forward, Uttanasana, draw the hands up, down again, roll yourself up, bring the arms up to finish the second round, Surya Namaskar. Bring the hands down to the Atmanjali Mudra. Bring the arms up overhead. We're going to do 5, not 3. Forward fold over. Draw the hands up the legs. Down again. Step back now with the right foot. Chaturanga Dandasana, 4-point staff. You could put the knees on the ground if you wanted to. Forward fold, I'll push up. Upward facing dog. Flip the toes over. You could do it one at a time if you wanted. Lengthen the spine. The arms are strong. The arms are pushing the mat away. The big toes, the little toes are engaged. The inner legs are engaged. The outer legs are engaged. Lengthen your spine. Enjoy the lengthening. Don't force the spine to lengthen. Just let it lengthen as it wants to. Step forwards with the left leg. Bring the right leg forward. Uttanasana. Half. Down again. Then come up. Hands together. Atmanjali Mudra. One more time. Forward fold. Uttanasana. Up. Down. Step back with the left leg. Then with the right leg, you could jump back if you wanted to. Chaturanga Dandasana. I know this is challenging for some. Upward facing dog. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Downward facing dog. You could do the foot one at a time. The feet one at a time, rather. Lengthen the spine comfortably. Arms are strong. Legs are strong. Neck is neutral. Step forwards with the right leg. Or you could jump forward. Step forwards with the left leg. Uttanasana. Half. Up overhead. Down. Atmanjali Mudra. Now for the final one. Up. Forward fold. Half. Forward fold. Step back with the right. Then followed with the left. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Feels good. Lengthen the spine. Use the thumbs, the fingers. They're pressing in firmly, but not digging in. Allow the hips to open. Enjoy the feeling of the hips opening. Allow the buttocks to blossom. Now step forward with the left leg, then the right leg. Atmanjali Mudra. I like to begin with Surya Namaskar In my daily practice, I always do 5 of A and sometimes 5 of B. When I do my afternoon practice, I usually do A and B. It's a good way to get the body going and allow your body time just to get into the flow of it. Don't expect deep forward bends. Don't expect deep back bends. Just allow your body to be as it wants to. Now, if you have problems with your back, please be very careful when you do Uttanasana, the forward fold. If you want to have your feet slightly further apart, please do that. Remember to keep your knees bent. If your back is tight, don't force your hands down to the floor. Bend your knees to bring the hands down if you have to do that, okay? It's much more important that you're careful with your back than it is you get your hands to the floor. Getting your hands to the floor is not something you really need to be worried about, right? What you need to be worried about is how your back is acting, how your back is feeling. So let your back dictate how it is that you're going to practice each time you approach a pose. You may have just done poses a few minutes ago where you're doing these incredible forward folds and everything is just right. But you may find that after that your back is really tired and it doesn't want to do any more forward folds, and then you push yourself and bam, you're looking for the ibuprofen bottle or whatever it is that you use for a painkiller. So please be careful. The next pose I'm going to do is Privrtta Pasvakonasana, which is a twist. So I would like to have ready a block or different types of blocks. I like blocks. Blocks really can aid you in your practice. You may find that with a block, a pose is a lot more accessible. You may find that you can pose without using a block. But if you are practicing this pose and your body is constricted, not stretching nicely, that's not a good pose. You're not getting what your body wants from the pose. You're just going into a pose, and there you've achieved something, but it's not going to be of real benefit to you. Yes, you've got it without using a prop, but does that make a big difference to your practice? Yes, it does make a big difference to your practice. If you need the prop and you're not using the prop, you do it without the prop, well, you're just going to pull a muscle. Maybe not now, maybe not later on, but tomorrow or something like that, when you try it again, your body's going to say, I've had enough of that. I don't want to do that anymore. So have a block nearby. You may or may not need it. If you don't need it, fine. If you do need it, it's right there. Okay. I have been called the yoga nagger before, and there is a reason for that. So, to begin with, there are a number of ways that we're going to approach this pose. Privrtta Pasvakonasana. Privrtta Pasvakonasana, I beg your pardon. Step back with the left leg. This is one option. If your back is tight, this is a good one to begin with. To begin with, regardless of whether your back is tight or not, check the hips. The hips are pointing square to the front. If you want to put your hands on your hips just to check, do that. The next thing to look at is the knee. The joint of the knee lines up with the ankle bone, right? It's not the kneecap lining up with the ankle bone. If the kneecap lines up with the ankle bone, the knee is behind the heel, or it becomes behind the heel, and that is not good for your knee. So keep the knee above the ankle. The next thing is the kneecap generally lines up with the second toe. But if you have problems with your foot or with your knee and it won't do that, please don't force it. Just let your body be the way that it wants to, and you make adjustments to the pose to suit the way your body happens to be today. Okay? Now, we've checked the hips, we've checked the knee, we checked the kneecap. Always keep an eye on the knee because the knee wants to move. Beware of the buttock. You want the buttock to be nice and strong. The rear leg is drawing towards the inside of the body. The front leg feels like it's lifting up off the mat. Your legs are totally engaged. The toes are pressing down comfortably. The arches in your feet are coming up. Whether they actually look like they're coming up or not doesn't matter. What matters is that you can feel, or starting to feel, that the arches are lifting. Now, Bring the arms up beside you. Then turn the torso towards the right. The reason why I like to do the torso turning is that you're a lot less likely to pull your torso around. Then drop the right hand down, bring the left hand, put it behind the knee. Then bring the right arm up overhead as much as it wants to go. If it wants to be like that, that's fine. At any angle, it's fine. You're looking towards your armpit. Notice now the tension in the hip. If you find that your stance is too wide, shorten your stance. Listen to your body. Again, the front leg is lifting up off the mat. The rear leg is engaged. Drop the arm down, turn, face forward, step forwards. Now to do the other side, I got to turn the heat off. Whew. Warming up already. Okay, so for this side, feet are hip width apart. Step back with the right foot. I like the stepping back because when you step back, there is a lot less pressure on the back. So also when you step back, you're a lot more likely to get your legs at a distance that the hips want them to be at. If you go from a wide angle pose and just turn your hips so they're square to the front, then your back will probably be too tight, right? So by stepping back, that allows your hips to open at a comfortable length for you, what is realistic for you. But please, whatever you do, don't force it. Check the hips, check the knee. Does the knee line up with the second toe? Drop the arms down. Bring the arms up. Turn the torso. Bring the right hand down. Place it behind the knee or on the thigh somewhere. Drop the left hand down. Then bring the arm up overhead in a swimming stroke or at whatever angle you want it to be at. Be aware of how your lower back feels. Does it feel tight? If it does, shorten your stance. Now remember, the right leg, the front leg, feels like it's lifting up off the mat, and the rear leg feels like it's pulling towards the midline of the body. Drop the arms down, undo the bind, step forwards, regain your equilibrium. Pause. Stand in Tadasana. Allow the muscles to relax. Tadasana, the mountain pose, is a very good pose to do in between poses. It allows your body to assess the information that it's gathered from the poses that it's been doing. Now, here is another way to go about the pose. The legs are the same, unless you went out and changed the legs. So your legs are the same. The positioning is the same. Step back with the left foot. Hips are square to the front. Look at the feet. Feet are pointing forwards. Joint of the knee, kneecap, hips. Now, put the hands together in the Atmanjali Mudra. But this time, rather than having the elbows down, I want you to have the elbows out to the side. Turn the torso towards the right. Lean in towards the leg and hook the left elbow over the right knee. Allow the torso to extend. The chin is tucked. Pressing the hands together, I want you to feel like the elbows are pulling apart. So there is a firm pressure on the hands pressing one palm against the other. But at the same time, the elbows feel like they're spreading apart. You're looking behind you. You're listening to your body. Hold it for as long as is comfortable. And bring yourself towards the front. Drop the hands down, step forwards, regain your equilibrium. Tadasana. Allow the body to adjust. Now we'll do the other side. Feet are hip width apart. Step back with the right foot. You may find you have more stretch on one side than you do on the other. That's not unusual because our bodies are really asymmetrical. You can have one side that's a lot more flexible than the other side. And as far as twists go, if you have scoliosis like I do, there are some twists that are a lot more accessible on one side than they are on the other side. So if that's the case, allow your body to be like that. Check the knee. Knees over the ankle. Kneecap generally lines up with the second toe, unless, of course, you've got something going on with the leg or with the knee or with the foot, and it won't do that. Rear leg towards the midline of the body. Front leg lifting up off the mat. Your hips are active. Put the hands together in the Atmanjali Mudra with the elbows out towards the sides. When you're ready to exhale, bring the right knee over, the right elbow over the left knee. Allow the torso to turn. Hands pressing firmly together, elbows are spreading apart. Spine is comfortably lengthening. You are looking behind you or wherever feels most comfortable for you. Keep the back of the neck soft. Please do not overturn the neck. Keep an eye on the knee. How is your lower back? Breathe. Don't hold your breath. Now exhaling. Bring yourself up. Step forwards. Tadasana. Toes together, heels slightly apart. Breathe. Now, for the third version that I want to show you here, my body is actually telling me that I don't really want to do it. However, I'm going to show you what it looks like and take it from there, even though I just finished telling you if your body doesn't want to do something, don't do it. I'm going to use a block. So I'll have a block nearby. Or I plan on using a block. I'm going to begin this through Surya Namaskar. So, arms up overhead, forward fold down, up, step back with the left, put the heel to the ground, knee over ankle. Joint of the knee over the ankle. The foot is facing forwards. Now, bring the torso up. Put the hands together. Inch the rib cage around a little bit. Move the block so the block is available to you. Put the hand on the block. Now, take the right hand. Put the right hand on the small of the back. Keep an eye on the knee. Then bring the arm, swim the arm overhead. If this doesn't work for you, you could have the arm behind you or at any angle that you like. But be mindful of what's going on with your shoulder as you rotate the arm. That's why I like the swimming method, because it seems to me that the shoulder does not catch. And then bring the arm back and down. Move out of the block. Downward facing dog. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Step forwards with the left, then with the right. Bring yourself up. Now, if I were doing this during part of my regular practice, I would have just brought the left leg forward and then done the other side. But because we're working on this, I'm going to turn around so that my left leg will be facing the camera. So I'll move the block. So. Right leg is firmly on the ground, firm. The right foot is at an angle. Left knee, the joint of the knee is above the left ankle bone. Bring the hands together. Now, if you're much tighter on this side, you can stay with the hands together like this in the Atmanjali Mudra. Going to put the block in place. Move the arm into a position that works for you. Keep an eye on the knee. You're looking behind you or wherever is most comfortable. Bring the arm back. Move the block out of the way. Draw the left leg back. Down into Chaturanga Dandasana. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Breathe. Now draw the right leg forward. Then the left leg. And relax. The next pose that we're going to do is Ardha Matsyendrasana, the half-Lord Fishes pose. So, please come down onto the mat however you like. Now, the half-Lord Fishes pose. A great pose. I really like it. So, what I would like you to do is to have the legs extended out in front of you in Dandasana with the feet, the toes pointing directly up, the arches are going forwards, the sides of the feet are coming back. Put the hands beside you. Pause for a moment. Torso is generally straight up and down. Bend the left knee. Bring the right leg underneath. Wrap it around. So the heel is by the hip. Draw the left leg back. Now, depending on how tight you happen to feel, if you want to, you can have the left leg on the outside of the right leg, so it's outside the shin. Otherwise, take the left leg and put it behind the knee of the right leg. Lengthen the spine. If you find that sitting in this position is very tight, you could sit on a block. That would elevate the hips. That would open the hips up. But it will also make achieving part of the pose a little more difficult. But the hips are much more important than getting the pose to look like it does in a book. The other thing I want you to be mindful of is the foot is generally facing forwards. Take the left hand, put the left hand behind you, lean back. Now as you're leaning back, bend the elbow. Turn the torso so the torso is starting to face towards the left. Adjust the legs as you need to adjust them. Bring the right arm up overhead. Bring the right elbow down so it's hooked onto the knee with the hand facing upwards. Now, if that doesn't work for you, if your torso is tight, please don't force yourself to twist. Just take the right hand and simply hold onto the knee. Keep the left hand on the floor behind you with the elbow bent. You're just turning the torso gently. Breathe. Allow the fleshy part of your tummy just to open towards the left so that the ribs are away from the leg, within reason. Make any subtle adjustments your body suggests. If you can, bring the right hand down and hold on to the arch of the left foot with the right hand. Then bring, if you're holding on to the arch of the foot, only if you're doing that, bring the left hand around and place the left hand around the right hip. Allow your chin to drop down. Turn it up, looking over the left shoulder. The chin is tucked. Drop the chin down, then look up over the left knee into the future. Then when you're ready to release the right hand and do the bind with the legs, extend the legs out in front of you, shake them out a little bit. Now, bend the right knee, thread the left leg underneath the right, bringing the right heel to the, the left heel to the right hip. If you want, you could put the right foot outside of the left knee, or you could put the right foot behind the knee, whichever happens to work for you right now. Remember, each day you get a slightly different body. Some days your body's going to be more open, other days it's not. Just go with whatever you've got today. Turn the torso, bring the right hand behind you, place it on the floor, bend the elbow, lean into the hand. Allow the torso to free up, creating space. Bring the left hand up overhead, bring the elbow down. Allow the torso to turn some more. What's happening with your foot? Keep an eye on that foot. The foot that's placed the sole on the floor, because you probably have got the other one around beside you. You could hold on to the knee with the left hand, remember? If you want to begin that way, you may, of course. But whatever you do, don't do it in a hurry. Let your body adjust as it wants to. You may need to make room. If you need to make room, make room. Take the left hand, hold on to the arch of the right foot. If you need to move the right foot forward, move it forward. Bring the right hand around, place it on the left thigh. You're looking down towards the mat. The chin is in line with the sternum. It's not touching the sternum, it's just in line with the sternum. Then bring the head up, looking over the right shoulder. Keep the big toe of the right foot pressing into the floor. Then drop the chin down. Bring it up, looking over the knee towards the future, towards the front somewhere. Then undo the bind if you're holding onto the leg. Place the hand on the floor. The elbow is bent. The right hand elbow is bent. Release the left hand. Undo the bind slowly. Remember, you have been compressing your tummy at this point. So when you come out of the pose easily. Don't come out in a hurry. Now for the next pose we're going to do is Privrtta Janu Sirsasana, which is another revolved pose. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lower the camera a little bit. So if you give me a second, I'll do that. Hopefully it'll work well. I happen to like this next pose, but sometimes it can be challenging. So if it's challenging, allow it to be challenging. I mean, the wonderful thing about having these poses and having challenging poses is that they allow you to grow. The people who have the hardest time with the practice is the people who are extremely flexible. Because if you are overly flexible, then there is no resistance. And if there isn't any resistance, you're not really going to get a lot of benefit from it. So it is in the resistance that your muscles are allowed to grow, that your muscles get to breathe. If you are, a ballerina or a dancer, that's great. I really admire people who have that type of flexibility and the amount of time that they spend studying that to become that flexible. But when you're practicing asanam, as we are now, if you don't have any resistance, you're not really going to grow. So don't be concerned about having to have your leg straight if your leg doesn't go straight, right? That's not a big deal. Don't be concerned about the right arm or the left arm going over the head to hold on to the right foot. Don't be concerned about that. These are all elements that you grow with. And like I said, some days you have better days than other days. So, Privrtta Janu Sirsasana. Begin with the legs extended. Draw the left leg back. Move the right leg out. Now, at this point, notice how you feel in the hip, right? Put the hands in front of you. Allow your torso to comfortably lengthen. Allow the left knee to press down nicely into the mat. The knee doesn't have to touch the mat. I just want you to have something for the leg to press against. If you want, you could take a towel and put a towel underneath the leg just so that you have some resistance there, because that resistance is going to help you in the pose. If you don't have any resistance there, it's harder to get the pose, okay? So please have some sort of resistance there and maintain that. Now to begin with, put your right hand behind the right knee and draw the right knee back towards you. Put the right elbow on the inside of the right leg. Turn your torso away as if you are looking over the left knee out into the future. Hands are on the floor. All these movements can be subtle. And as you practice the pose, you'll notice as you develop in the pose that there are these subtle indicators that you get along the way which tell you how the pose is going. You would by now have an idea of what your leg is going to do when you actually get into the pose, how far you're actually going to be able to get because of how the leg and the groin is right now. Okay? So allow your body to tell you what's going to happen and you go along with what it says. Don't you force the body to do something that the body isn't ready to do. So, looking towards the corner there, elbow pressing in against the right leg. Adjust as you need to adjust. Extend the right leg out. The right ribs line up with the right leg. take your left hand and put the left hand on the small of the back, pressing gently into the small of the back. Allow the torso to revolve. So your torso is starting to revolve towards the ceiling. It's not going to point towards the ceiling, but I just want you to have that sensation of turning. Bring the knee back up again if you want to. Take the right hand, turn the hand so the thumb is pointing towards the ground, and you can take your fingers and hold onto the arch of the foot and put the thumb on the top of the foot. Lengthen your spine comfortably. Adjust your torso as you want to. Adjust the elbow and shoulder as you want to. Then, if you want to, lengthen the leg. You don't have to lengthen the leg. Don't force the leg if the leg doesn't want to do it. Allow the torso to revolve. Oh, the clouds look nice. Now, the left hand. You can keep the left hand where it is, pressing gently against the back. Or you could bring the left hand over the head, again in a swimming motion, and hold on to the toes. The torso is revolving. The neck is in neutral. Allow the feet, the foot of the extended leg, to dorsiflex back towards you. Keep the knee that's bent pressing into the floor. Now, release the right hand, the left hand, and put the left hand on the floor. Press down into the mat with the left hand, then release the hand from the foot. Don't use your torso to bring yourself back up. The arms do the work. Now, another way you could go about it is you could get your strap. Strap is a great thing. Put the strap over the ball of the foot. Bend the knee again. Hold on to the strap. Take the left hand behind you. Again, you're having the torso revolve. This is a nice alternate. Straighten the leg. You can just hold on to the strap. You don't have to hold on to your foot. But keep the foot that's extended out active. The toes are pointing up towards the ceiling and slightly back towards you. Bring the left hand overhead and either hold on to the other hand, or if you want to, hold on to the toe, whichever is more accessible to you right now. Now, I want you to be mindful of your left buttock. I would like you to let the left buttock relax, so the left buttock is going down towards the floor. Keep the left knee bent. The left knee is active. The left buttock is relaxing a little bit. Now again, take the left hand, press the left hand into the floor, release the strap with the right, draw the right hand back, right hand presses into the floor, and it brings you up. That is one of the other alternatives that you could do. Or that is an alternative you could do. So I'm now going to do the other side. This is a great pose, but do let your body get used to doing it. Don't just throw yourself into it. Take it in stages. Don't do it every day. Do it every other day, perhaps, or every third day. You want your body to be able to relax in between poses, especially if the pose is a deep pose for you. And remember, every person's poses are different. You know, what's deep for me may not be deep for you. You know, you may just fall right into it, no problem. But for me, the pose may be a problem. So I need to let my body warm up to it. That's one of the reasons why I like to do the Surya Namaskar before I begin my practice in the morning. It allows the body to open up a little bit, to warm up a little bit before I start doing anything more. So. Have the strap. Draw the right leg, the right heel up, put the right heel towards the groin, move the left leg out towards the side. The right knee is active and pressing into the mat. Here, I'll do it this way. Right knee is active and pressing in towards the mat. Now, Because I have scoliosis, often I find this side more challenging. I can already feel in my hip that this side is tighter. So I let the buttocks relax, the buttocks sink towards the ground. I can feel the action going on in the thigh and in the calf. My foot is active. Take the left hand, put the left hand behind the knee. Draw the left leg back. Doesn't matter how far you draw it back. Allow the torso to revolve towards the right knee, so it's looking over the right knee, or generally. Keep the leg active. Move, snug the elbow and arm into the thigh, allowing the torso to revolve. Remember, you turn the hand down, fingers, little finger is underneath the big toe on the mounds of the foot. Extend the leg out. Take the right hand, place the right hand into the small of the back. Adjust the pose as you go along. If you have to release and then go back into the pose, do that. Don't feel that it's got to be one swift, smooth transition. It doesn't have to be. You have to listen to your body when you do these things. The torso revolves towards the ceiling. My head turns up towards the ceiling, but comfortably, in line with the body. Now this may be as far as you go on this side. The foot is dorsiflexing back towards me. The leg is active. The bent knee is active. Lengthen the spine comfortably. Bring the right arm overhead. Hold on to the foot if that's available to you, or not. Just keep the hand on the small of the back. Let your spine comfortably lengthen, equally on both sides. If you go too deep into the pose, you won't get any lengthening. And your body needs to have the lengthening, because that tells you that you are not going towards the end of the pose. You're not going towards the extreme edge of the pose. You need to listen to your body. And the more you practice, the more your body will talk to you. Sometimes it'll talk to you too much. Now, bring the hand down. Press into the floor with the right hand. Release the left hand. Bring the left hand, press it into the floor. Allow it to come up. If you want to practice with a strap, take the strap, put the strap over the ball of the foot. Again, the elbow is on the inside of the leg. Straighten the leg. Allow your hand to have as much strap as it wants. Don't feel that you have to have your hand close up to the foot. The torso revolves. Take the right hand, place it on the small of the back. Lean into the pose. If this is as far as you go, that's fine. Let your body relax into the pose. Keep the knee pressing into the mat, the bent leg knee into the mat. The foot of the extended leg is active, pointing back towards you. Swim the right arm overhead, hold on to the hands or hold on to the foot. Listen to your body. If you feel nauseous, you are doing too much. Now, release the hands. Put the right hand on the floor. Bring yourself up. Prop yourself up with your hands. Remember, in between poses, in between sessions, or in between sections of the pose that you're doing, allow the body to relax. If you need to pause in between before going any further, please do that. Now, that is the end of that. We'll do a couple of minutes of meditation and then Shavasana. I've chosen to do it that way rather than do the meditation after Shavasana, the corpse pose, so that you can have as long a Shavasana as you want to. So, for meditation, please just extend your legs out in front of you. If you have a block or something you want to sit on, please do that. Don't just sit on the floor, especially if you're planning on doing a long meditation. So I like the block. It lifts the hips up. It allows your lower back to be comfortable. If you're just sitting on the floor and not on something, your back will get tight after a while. Take the hand, move the calf muscle out from behind the knee, and just draw the leg in. Sit however comfortable, or whatever is comfortable for you. If you want to sit, as my daughter used to say when she was in preschool, crisscross applesauce. If you want to do that, do that. If you want to just lay down and meditate and get an early start on Shavasana, please do that. However you want to be. Be sure that you're equally weighted on the buttocks, on the block with the buttocks. Hands can be on the knees if you like. If you have the hands on the knees and you apply slight pressure, that will help to open up the nostrils. But if you are going to do that, don't pull. Just have the hands there. And just let the very slight tug from the weight of the elbows do the opening. You could have your hands up if you wanted to. You could do a mudra if you want to. You could do the traditional zazen type of hands. Or just have your hands as you want to. Close the eyes a little bit. Look down towards the floor, lengthening the back of the neck, keeping the face soft. Please just follow your breath. Whatever your breath wants to do, follow it in wherever the breath wants to go. Follow the breath to wherever it wants to go. And then exhale out, following the breath out. So if the breath just wants to go into the upper parts of the lungs, that's fine. If the breath wants to go down into your feet, that's fine. If it wants to go up into your head or into your shoulders or wherever, just follow the breath. Keep the tongue away from the roof of the mouth and keep the face relaxed. When your mind wanders, just bring it back to following the breath. And now, if you want to, and I recommend that you do, lay down on your mat and do Shavasana, practice Shavasana, the corpse pose. As you practice this pose, let the legs go directly out from the body. Check and make sure that they're going directly out from the body, not slightly to the left or slightly to the right, because if they are going slightly to the left or to the right, it's going to eventually disturb how the lower back is. So you want the legs to go directly out from the body, providing that's what they do normally. Allow the feet to fall apart. Move your legs as you want to. Make sure your lower back is comfortable. If you want to, have the feet flat on the floor and the knees in the air if that makes your lower back feel comfortable. Lengthen the spine. Roll the shoulders over a few times. Put the hands beside you. Turn the hands so they're facing upwards. Relax the shoulders. Relax the face. Relax the skin at the crown of the head. Relax the skin at the back of the head. Revolve your eyes a few times in one direction, then in the other direction. And then just let your body relax. And follow your breath. Follow the breath in. Follow the breath out. Continue on with this practice as long as you want to. Thank you for coming to the practice. I hope you have a great day.